Lesley, you got questions for Jordan? Great.
So Jordan, I'm sure there are always good points, even if the game didn't come out. So give us both good and bad, just short versions of what you saw in either case.
Well, I think I was thinking about that last night. Did anybody see the end of that LSU game?
Yeah.
Right. So USC has, I think it's 4 to 6 yards to get into field goal range, and so they're in a cover 2 concept. That corner, I'm sure, knows not to give up that line, right? And they flash a low route, and he jumps it, opens up the whole shot. He throws it. Safety comes over the top, ends up in a targeting penalty. 15 yards, game is over. Now, my point is the intent of the player is all good. They're trying to make a play to help their team. And so that's to me, that sums up the positive and the negative. And if I go through, especially the second quarter, that's kind of where it fell. There was, and just to relate that back, the KK on the little skinny post ball for the touchdown, he sees the route, he breaks on the route instead of just being patient and breaking on the ball. Now he's trying to make a play, and so that was. We talk about effort, aggression, and toughness, and I didn't see a lack of any of those things. And that aggression sometimes can bite you. And good football teams, when you make those mistakes, they find them. Those are things that are mistakes. They're mistakes that are very fixable. I hate that you have to fix them and that kind of atmosphere and that kind of team in week 1, but it is what it is. And last thing I told them before we left the hotel was that we don't need anybody to do anything special. We just need you to do your job. And that was, and that's tough in that kind of environment, which was great. Our friends were great. It's the best man trip I've been a part of. That was all awesome. So you just got to kind of come to calm and do your job. If we did that, we'd be fine.
Right before halftime, obviously gave up the big play. Played just
So I mean that's a easy and that's a fair question. I think what I did wrong, and I'll take way more ownership. Like, throw darts at me, don't throw darts at the players. So the tendency and the personnel and the formation was what it was, and I played that a little more than probably played the situation, which is what hindsight 2020 should have did. But elected for pressure, put our best man cover guy where he was, which he is, and Garnett makes that play 9 out of 10 times at practice. And I trust him to do it again if I put him in that situation again. Now, again, played the tendency of that, what they were in and what they were doing more than I played the situation, and that's a mistake on my part.
How do you become more effective on 1st and 10? Seemed like there weren't a lot of short yardage, second down situations.
Yeah, well, I mean, the easy answer is pressure. And the hard part of the pressure against what we know they like to do and what that guy's always done is that's when he's always making you adjust. So you can pressure yourself right into a huge play, a touchdown play on 1st down, if you're not careful. Now, we had a couple of those on 1st downs where we did send pressure, and we were very effective on it. Early on, when we saw 2 personnels that you just kind of had to guess you would see, which we expected. We expect to see things. I mean, that's game 1 stuff. And so as you're adjusting through that, you're staying pretty basic just to figure out, all right, where are they going with this? What are they trying to do? And some of those came on some of those yardage plays on those 1st downs come in that scenario. And then when we settled in, I thought we were fine.
What do you see out of Albany on this? Albany, what do you see out of Albany?
So obviously a team that's won a lot of games. They know how to win. They're very well coached. They do a good job with how far along I am with them, especially in the run game. They know who to block, and they very simply do what they do, and they're good at it.
Their running back won their conference freshman.
Yeah, he's a good player, really good player.
Say, what do you see out of him?
Good player, has good vision, is patient in their scheme. You can tell he understands their scheme, and so he's a good player.
How'd you guys
guys handle the eye candy and all the stuff that he normally does?
I mean, I thought we were okay. There's always again, you try to present them as much as you can without, presenting them with too much. And then if they see something or if they show you something you haven't seen, and it's you always go back to your base rules and go from there. But I thought we handled it okay. Really, it's the three in the second quarter that stick out, and none of that was they weren't hard plays. They weren't plays where there was a whole lot of that. They were just mistakes that hurt us.
What did you think of Josiah Trotter? He had ended up with, leading tackler, first college game ever.
I thought he played. He is exactly what we thought. I mean, he's a guy. He's a great player. There's expected it going in. There's some, the very first run out of their where they're motioning to a 3-back set. I knew as soon as I saw where it hit that he was way too fast flow, which I've thought that going in. He'd be a guy you got to probably have to say, whoa, settle down, slow down, tempo your fit, along with your, in the pressure game too. Some of those seams that the quarterback got out on, we were just a little too fast on how we were running those twists, and some of those were off of pressures that included him with a second level guy come behind him. We were just a little fast early, trying to get him slowed down. But other than that, and that's that going into game one, he wanted to play last year, he wasn't able to, and then game one this year, especially your opponent, he's juiced through the roof, and so that's and I'd rather have to do that than say giddy up.
Coach, how do you think you did overall against the run game? Singleton eventually broke that one, and that kind of opened things up for them. But obviously, that was going to be something you'd had to contain based on a year earlier.
Yeah, I think both their the top two backs. I think one had 116, popped the big run. Allen, I think, had 25. And the quarterback stuff's really what kind of ballooned us up a little bit. I thought it was okay. I thought that physicality at the line of scrimmage was not an issue. We were a little fast on some of those fits early. The big ball, we just, again, they're good players. I said this last Monday, and we misfit it by half a yard, and there it goes. And off that motion, that's a tough formation that they get you in, and you got to get. And essentially, they end up with a big hat on a small hat, and those things that, again, you're just playing adjustments as you go. But we just, Ben goes 1/2 a yard this way too wide, and how they like their run game, and there it goes, it pops.
Is that kind of what happened on the one that he popped?
No, that's what happened. Okay. I mean, he ends up just a 1/2 a yard too wide. And those guys are really good players. They're a good running back. They hit that thing with shoulder square downhill, and if you are not tight off that rail, and there's a seam in there, then that's what a good player does, and that's any good running back does that. And you just do your job the way, and we had seen that play last week. It's one of the ones we figured we were saying that, hey, we know we're probably going to see this. You just got to fit it right, when things are moving fast.
Emotions this week. Discuss that a little bit, but hard to get turned around, or not hard?
No, I mean, like I said, I evaluate them on three things: is their effort, and their aggression, and their toughness. And we finished the game in the way we want, the way you want to finish the game. Obviously, the result is not. We didn't play well enough to win the game. We didn't do the things against a good opponent that you have to do. No matter what no matter everything that's surrounding it, you have to go and do your job in the manner in which you're taught to do it. Now, the manner in which they're taught to do it, I thought that they did overall. And again, there's so many corrections that are glaring because the magnitude. I get it. I'm not blind, deaf, or dumb, But they finished it. There was never an effort issue. You know, I go back to last year, you know, and everybody complained about them scoring that last touchdown. Well, hell, it's our job to stop them. And I thought we just kind of give in to them. And there was zero of that on Saturday. And so that's how I know we got a chance. No, we got to make the corrections. We got to do it. We got to play better within our job, no matter what the situation is, and no matter if we're playing Albany or Alabama. You know, so I'm not discouraged at all about this group. You know, it's just make the corrections, move. We got another opportunity this week. And we only get 11 more of them, guaranteed. Whatever happens after that is how well we do in those 11. And so that's where all my mind is on. You know, we can't change anything from Saturday. We had a shot. We didn't play well. Move on.
I know it's only Monday. Did you watch anything of Albany yet? Do you have anything on what to expect from them?
I mean, I start, you know, the way my mind works is, you know, it takes a while to get from here to Cheat Lake after games. So I have an iPad and I grade it right there. My wife drives home. I grade the game and watch it. I watch it again on Sunday morning. I watch it again with the staff, and I watch it again with Coach. And I have a pretty clear understanding of what went well, what didn't go well. And so by the time I get to Sunday afternoon, I know we need. I see it, fix it. Now I'm on. I'm on to the next one. And I think that's the way our players need to approach it and move on.
Anything you can share on what you've seen then from Albany moving forward on what to expect from
I mean,
them?
just like I told him, they're a team that knows how to win, won a lot of games. They're good at what they do. You can tell that they are who they are. They run their offense. They're good at running the football. Good at managing when they ask them to throw the football. And they were really good last year, you know, with that kid. I think transferred to Miami. But they've got a slot receiver that's be the fastest kid on the field when we're on defense. Good player. Transfer. Yeah, number 7.
7 McGee?
7 McGee. Yeah.
Okay.
Transfer from Oregon. And he looks like that on video. And I'm sure they find some creative ways to get him the ball in the run game and the pass game. So be a challenge. They're good at what they do. They obviously know how to win and have done it for a long time. Good football team.
Looking at your rotations across all the units on defense, pretty happy with how those worked? Any kind of significant changes in who might play where? Or
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that yet, but I think the rotations and number-wise, play count-wise, were about right where we wanted them to be throughout the game. You know, and this, what was it, 62? I think 62 total plays. Yeah, we were about, pretty close to that 60-40% range between the first group and second group. And we had some sub packages. We moved some guys around a little bit and did some different things. So they were pretty close.
the evaluation of that continue this week, and then on the practice field, see what might carry over to the future.
We'll see what carries over for the rest of the season. What we, the other things about game ones, no matter who you play and how big the game is you get a picture of what you thought you maybe could do in fall camp that maybe not so much, or that you can do, and we can do this, and we can be better at it. So you just stack those as you go.
What do you think of the dozen or so snaps you got out of Rodney?
Say that again, Mike.
So what do you think of the dozen or so snaps you got out of Rodney?
No, I thought he did a good job. We asked him. It's very limited menu of what we asked him to do, and that'll probably grow as the year goes on. But very simply ask him to cover, and then the reps we had him in, that's what we asked him to do. There was two in there that probably wasn't a little fair to him, where we were playing the two back with the tight end stuff like it was a one back personnel until we could figure out what they were trying to do. Once we were figuring out, I think it was 2 plays. Once we figured out what they were trying to do, we got him out of that situation. It never did hurt us, but it was a potential. The one tackle on the goal line, that was not his that was not his play to make. So I know that probably looked like it on video or on TV or whatever, but I thought he did a good job.
That nickel spot, it's not just one person, it's different positions, different bodies, like how, and just all the personnel machinations you're talking about too. It's pretty complicated, I'm guessing, trying to figure out who's going to be that extra defender. It could be a safety, it could be a corner, it could be an outside corner who comes inside.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on what you're trying to do based on what they're giving you. And so that could vary week to week. We have a base way, some basic calls that we do out of it with everybody. But just depends on, as we go throughout the week, watching our opponent, what we're going to ask that guy to do will be depending on who it is.
Neil mentioned that offense had an issue with the player-to-coach communication system on that first drive. Did you guys have any issues with that at all?
No, it was a little bit different. That's, you can't simulate that environment. And I wouldn't change that for anything, but you can't simulate that. And so I think they had to really adjust on just how loud they needed to talk to each other. The only issue, and it didn't hurt us, was that's a button, and one time my hand, slips off. But we still keep our normal operation. So if anything like that happens, they go right back to what our normal operation would be. We haven't gotten away from that. So we didn't have any issues other than them having to adjust with just how loud our fans were, which was good.
Greg, did you have a final question?
No, the Rodney thing was what I wanted, so
All right,
it's good.
thank you very much.